Have you ever felt pressured to smile, even when you're feeling down? You're not alone. In a world that loves to promote good vibes only, many people ignore their true feelings. Shockingly, research shows that 70% of adults experience anxiety or depression at some point in their lives. Yet, many choose to mask these feelings with a fake smile. Toxic positivity is the idea that you should always be happy and positive, no matter what. While optimism can be helpful, this pressure to be positive can backfire. Ignoring your true emotions can lead to stress, anxiety, and even physical health problems. A study from the Journal of Happiness Studies found that suppressing negative emotions can increase feelings of loneliness and sadness. But what if I told you that feeling sad, angry, or confused is not just okay, but necessary? In this video, we'll dive deep into how toxic positivity affects your life and mental health. We'll explore why embracing your emotions, both good and bad, leads to real growth. Join me as we uncover the hidden dangers of forced happiness and learn how to cultivate true emotional well-being. It's time to break free from the chains of toxic positivity and start living authentically. Chapter 1. The Dark Side of the Bright Smile. Unveiling toxic positivity. Toxic positivity is everywhere these days, and you might not even realize it. Social media is filled with quotes like, "good vibes only," and "stay positive no matter what." It seems innocent, right? But the constant push to be happy all the time can actually harm your mental health. A study from Psychology Today found that avoiding negative emotions can lead to increased anxiety and depression over time. You might think brushing off tough feelings will help you stay strong, but the truth is, you're only bottling up those emotions. And sooner or later, they'll spill over. Brené Brown, in her book The Gifts of Imperfection, mentions that numbing vulnerability is at the core of all anxiety, depression, and addiction. By forcing positivity, you're numbing your own vulnerability. Instead, start by acknowledging your feelings, good and bad. It's okay to feel upset, angry, or frustrated. Embracing these emotions is the first step toward true growth. According to research, people who accept their negative emotions experience fewer mood swings and are better at regulating their emotions. So, stop forcing the smile when you don't feel like it. Real growth comes from facing the darker emotions, not avoiding them. Chapter 2. The Happiness Trap. When positivity becomes pressure, it's easy to get caught in the happiness trap. You tell yourself, if I just think positive, things will get better. And while optimism is a great tool, it becomes toxic when it turns into pressure. The problem with always striving for positivity is that it doesn't leave room for reality. According to a survey by the American Psychological Association, 75% of people feel overwhelmed by the constant demand to be happy. It's exhausting. In fact, suppressing negative feelings can backfire. Harvard Health reported that people who avoid their true emotions often feel even more stressed in the long run. When we push down our sadness or anger, we're training our brains to ignore important signals that something is wrong. We end up stuck in a cycle of pretending everything's fine, even when it's not. Breaking free from this trap means letting go of the pressure to always be happy. Try reframing how you see tough situations. Instead of pushing for immediate happiness, focus on what you can learn from your emotions. Start by practicing self-compassion. Dr. Kristen Neff's research shows that people who practice self-compassion, especially in tough times, experience greater well-being than those who cling to forced positivity. So, the next time you feel down, remind yourself that it's okay to not be okay. There's no rush to feel good all the time. Chapter 3. Emotional Bypass. Ignoring pain in the name of good vibes only might sound like a positive mantra, but in reality, it can be emotionally damaging. When you ignore your pain for the sake of staying positive, you're engaging in something called emotional bypass. This is when you sidestep uncomfortable feelings, tricking yourself into believing they don't matter. But they do. In fact, research by Dr. Susan David, author of Emotional Agility, shows that suppressing emotions increases the likelihood of emotional outbursts and physical stress symptoms like headaches and high blood pressure. It's like putting a lid on a boiling pot, it will eventually overflow. Ignoring pain is not strength, it's avoidance. And avoidance only makes problems worse. Instead, embrace the full range of emotions. Think of emotions like a spectrum. Just as light can't exist without darkness, joy can't be fully appreciated without sorrow. By allowing yourself to feel pain, you're not being weak, you're being human. Start practicing emotional agility, which means becoming more comfortable with discomfort. Take a moment each day to sit with your emotions, even if they're negative. Label them without judgment. Just saying, "I feel anxious," or "I feel sad," can reduce their intensity by up to 50%, according to a UCLA study. Your emotions aren't enemies to be avoided, they're signals guiding you to deeper understanding. By accepting them, you're giving yourself the freedom to heal. If you're finding this information helpful, consider subscribing for more insights on personal development. Your journey to authenticity starts here. Chapter 4. The Hidden Cost of Denying Struggles. Eroding resilience. Denying your struggles might seem like a way to protect yourself from pain, but it actually does the opposite. When you refuse to face difficulties, you slowly erode your resilience. Resilience is built by going through challenges, not by pretending they don't exist. Research published in Frontiers in Psychology shows that people who embrace adversity develop stronger coping mechanisms and higher emotional intelligence. But when you constantly try to stay positive, you rob yourself of that growth. You may feel good in the moment, but long-term, you're weakening your ability to bounce back from life's inevitable setbacks. Brené Brown calls this armor, in her book Daring Greatly, the ways we shield ourselves from vulnerability and, in turn, miss out on opportunities for real courage. So how do you build resilience? Start by acknowledging your struggles. Instead of glossing over them with forced optimism, sit with your challenges. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Dr. Carol Dweck, author of Mindset, explains that people with a growth mindset, those who view challenges as opportunities to learn, are far more resilient than those who see obstacles as threats. Another key strategy is practicing gratitude and grief. You can be grateful while still honoring your hardships. This duality makes you stronger. A study from UC Berkeley found that people who practice both gratitude and emotional honesty have a 20% higher chance of overcoming trauma. Remember, it's not about pretending everything is great, it's about learning to thrive in the midst of struggle. Chapter 5. Fake it till you break it. The self-sabotage of over-optimism. We've all heard the phrase, fake it till you make it, but when it comes to emotions, that can be dangerous advice. Constantly pretending you're okay can lead to burnout and self-sabotage. When you push yourself to be overly optimistic, you disconnect from your authentic self. This disconnect creates a mental divide that can make you feel lost or out of touch with reality. Research published in the Journal of Positive Psychology found that forcing optimism can actually decrease life satisfaction and increase stress. It's counterproductive. If you're always faking positive emotions, you're likely ignoring your real needs. And the longer you ignore them, the bigger those issues grow. So how do you stop the cycle of over-optimism? One powerful strategy is to practice radical honesty with yourself. Be real about how you feel, even if it's uncomfortable. Psychologist Dr. Guy Winch, author of Emotional First Aid, suggests that self-awareness is the key to true happiness. He explains that recognizing your true emotions, not the ones you feel you should have, allows you to process them in healthy ways. Another tip: set realistic expectations. It's okay to be hopeful, but don't overpromise yourself a perfect life. When you set achievable goals and allow for setbacks, you'll feel less pressure to fake anything. Authenticity will carry you much further than forced optimism ever will. If you found value in this discussion about toxic positivity and personal growth, don't forget to subscribe. Join us on this journey toward authenticity and emotional well-being. Your path to a more genuine life starts here.